Hello friends, welcome back to LearningStrome Academy. So friends, today the topic that we are going to discuss is short data type, which is again a primitive data type. Okay friends, so in the previous video as we discussed byte data type, so now we are going to discuss short data type. So let's start with our discussion. So friend, as the short data type takes 2 bytes to store data. So friend, as byte data type takes only 1 byte to store data. It's mean that our short data type is going to cover the large range, okay, than the byte data type. Okay, so what is the value? What are the value that my short data type represents? Okay, let's see. Actually, my friends, the short data type is going to represent a value that will lie in the range of minus 32,768 to 30,767. Okay, friends. So, friend, now we can also calculate that particular range by using this formula to the power 15. That is the bit that we are that we are using to represent the values, okay, that we are using to hold the values, okay, to the power of 15 minus 1. This is the formula by we can calculate the range of any particular data type. Okay friends, now you can see that we are as short data type takes 2 bytes to store data, but here we are using only 15 bits. It means that one bit my compiler is using 1 bit for any other purpose. Okay friends, so what is the purpose for which my compiler is using that bit? Actually friends, show data type also can hold signed data types. It means that it can also hold negative data type, it can also hold positive data type. Okay, so the most significant, okay, the most significant most significant bit we are using to represent the sign of a number. Okay, as you can see in this blog, the most significant are used to represent the sign of a number, and the rest 15 bits are used to represent the number itself. Okay friend, so now it is clear to you all that the most significant bits are used to represent the sign bit, and the other blocks are used to represent the number. And this block determine that what is the maximum value and the minimum value for my data type. Okay, so friend, let's see the application of the short data type. So what is the application of short data type, friends? So as friend, whenever we have to, let's suppose a situation when I have to represent a value, large value that will lie in the range of short data type, that will in between the 32,767, okay, to 32,000 minus 32,768. Okay, so friend, we can also use integer in that case, but friend, why should we should use short? As we know, short data type takes half bit of the full integer. Okay, as we know, integer takes 4 byte to store the data, but our short data types only takes 2 byte. Okay, okay friend, whenever we have to represent we have a problem which will represent the value in short data type range, then we can use short data type instead of integer data type. Okay, in that case friend, we can optimize our program by from the some space complexity, friends, because we are saving our memory by 2 bytes. Okay, sometime we have a challenge that we have to customize our program. We have to optimize our program by space. Okay, in that case we can use such concepts. Okay, like we can use such kind of data type which can be used to represent which we can use to represent the values, okay, that will lie in that range. Okay friend, so in that case we can use short data type. Okay, so let's see a scenario. Let's suppose friend, we have 30,000 students in any university. Okay friends, in computer application stream. Now my teacher given me a task that I have to update all one of data. Okay, so friend, if I want to update everyone's data, so I have to traverse each one of data one by one. Okay, for that I have to use any looping technique. Okay, I have to use any traversing technique. Okay friends, so in that case I have to use any any integer value, any data type to for loop. Okay friends, in loop. Okay, in that case I can use my short data type in case of int data type. Okay, because we have 30,000 students, and that the range lies in the range lie in short data type. Okay, so in that case I can use short data type in case of int data type. So here we are saving our memory. Okay, and we are also doing our work fine. Okay, so this is the scenario, one of the scenario where we can use our short data type in case of int data type, and we can optimize our program by memory. Okay, so friend, why the short data type was developed? What is the purpose of short data type? Why it was developed? Actually friend, when it was developed, at that time 16-bit processor was widely used. In 1995 8086 processor was widely used friend. Okay, so to keep match with that instruction format, short data type was developed. Okay friend, so this was the reason that, just because the short data type was developed. Okay friend, let's see some cases which are acceptable and not acceptable by short data type. Okay, so friends, let's see. So let's clear the screen first. So friend, let's see that so let's see friend, if I'm going to sign up any value that will line its range, in that case my compiler is going to work fine. Okay, let's see, I'm going to compile it and see my compiler is working my program is working fine. Okay, it is working fine. Okay, but if so friend, what is the maximum value for it? Okay, if I'm going to assign, so friend, if I'm going to assign this value, so friend, it is going to work fine. Yeah, so friend, it is the maximum value that my short data type can accept. Okay, so friend, what is the minimum value that my compiler can accept for short data type? So friend, this is the minimum value that my compiler can accept for the short data type. Okay, so this is the minimum value. Okay friend, so what, okay, if I'm going to send any other value that is beyond that particular range, then in that case what is going to happen friend? Let's say I'm going to send 90. Okay, that I'm going to send this value. Okay, then what will happen? As in case of C and C++, actually what happens friend, my compiler C and C++ compiler actually round off that value to appropriate value. Okay, but what will happen in case of Java? Friend, in case of Java, as we know, Java is strictly defined language. If the value is it doesn't lie to its range, my compiler is going to throw an error, compile time error, that is incompatible types. Okay, let's see friend it. Okay friend, now you can see that we are getting an error, incompatible types. Okay, so this is the case when we are assigning a value that will beyond the particular range, and then what will happen in that case friend? We are going to get an error. As we know, this is integral value that is lie in integer range, and we are trying to assign this integer value to short data type, which is beyond this range of the short data type. So that's why my compiler is unable to convert this int value to short data type. So friend, now I think this case is clear with you all. If I'm going to assign, so remember it friend, if I'm going to assign any value that will be beyond of its range, in that case my compiler is not going to round it. Compiler is going to throw an compile time error that is incompatible types. Okay friend, int2 short. Okay, so friend, let's see if I'm going to see another case. If I'm going to assign a float value to it, so friend, what will happen in that case? Let's consider any float value. Let's consider any float value. In that case, what will happen? As in C and C++, actually what friend actually happens in that compiler, actually my compiler truncates the decimal parts and assign the rest of the part to my integral part to my data type. But friend, in that case my compiler is going to again throw an error. Okay friend, because as you know, Java is our friend strictly defined language. Now you can see friend, my compiler is throwing an error, incompatible types. Okay, possibly logic conversion from double to int, double to short. That is, as we know, any decimal value for compiler is kind of short, a double data type. Okay, so for now here you can see friend, this is double value, and my compiler is looking for the short value, but we are assigning a double value, and my compiler is not truncating the decimal part or assigning integral part to it. My compiler is throwing an error at the compiler is saying that I cannot assign double to short. So now friend, I hope that this case is also clear with you all. Okay, so friend, if I'm this is our which kind of data type? This is our again double kind of data type. Okay friend, if I'm going to assign a string data type in case of in case of other so friend, let's consider third case. If I'm going to assign a string data type to a short data, then what will happen? Let's suppose I'm going to assign learning strong. Okay friend, so what will happen friend? So let's see, I'm compiling it. Okay, now you can see, if I'm going to assign a string to my byte data type again, sorry, short data type, again I'm going to get an error that incompatible types string cannot be converted to short. My compiler is getting string, and that we are trying to assign short data type, and my compiler is saying that, oh, it is string, I cannot convert it into short. So my compiler is throwing an error at the compile time. So friend, remember it, this kind of error is known as compile time error. Okay, so if I'm going to assign any value that is incompatible regarding to that particular data type, in that case we are going to get a compile time error friends. Okay, so friend, if I'm going to sign a if I'm going to sign correct so let's consider other case. If I'm going to assign a character in place of in place of uh, in place of string, so what will happen? So friend, actually there are two possibilities. Okay, one possibility that our program can work fine, another possibility that other program will throw an error. Okay, so let's talk about that. If the character that I'm assigning to my short data type, if its unicode value will be in range of short data type, at that time my compiler is not going to throw an error. My compiler is going to my compiler is going to print its unicode value. Okay, integral in the integer form. Okay, but if its unicode value, it will be uh, beyond the range of short data type, in that case my compiler is going to throw an error that incompatible types possibly logic conversion from int to short, because my compiler is going to treat that unicode value as integer. So my compiler is going to throw an error that I cannot convert that int value to short value. Okay, so friend, let's see, if I'm in this case, what will happen? Okay, so if I'm going to compile it, so you can see that my program is working, compiling fine. Okay, because the unicode value of the a is in the range of the short data type, that's why my compiler is working fine and going to give me a value, integer value of the a. You can see that I'm getting 65. Okay, so if I remember it, whenever we have a, I'm going to assign a character value to my any integral value, any kind of data type, integral data type. Okay, let byte or short or an int. Okay, in that case what will happen? If the unicode value of that particular character is will be in range, so in that case my compiler is going to work fine. But if its value is going to be beyond the range of that particular data type, okay, in that case my compiler is going to throw an error at the compile time. Okay friend, so friend, this is the cases. If I'm going to assign a larger value, the beyond going to assign a value that will beyond of its range, then what will happen? Another case, if I'm going to assign a float value or double value, then what will happen? Another case, if I'm going to assign a short value, then what will happen? Okay, if I'm going to assign a character value, then what will happen? Okay, now if I'm going to assign a boolean value to it, then what will happen? Let's see friend. If I'm going to assign a true to it, then what will happen? Again friends, as we know that in C and plus plus, as we know, in boolean value represents its value by 0 and 1 by true and 0 by false. Okay, if I'm going to assign a boolean value to any integral data type in C and C plus plus, so it is going to accept it. But in case of Java, it is not going to accept it friend, again, because again you can see, if I'm compiling my program, again I'm getting an error. Boolean cannot be converted to short because incompatible type, because true is again which kind of value, it is boolean, and short is again which kind of value, short. So you can see friend, we are getting boolean cannot be converted to short friend. Okay, so this is another case when we are trying to assign a boolean value to my integer value, so my compiler is not going to convert into going to accept it, my compiler is going to throw an error at again, friends. Okay, so friend, this is the another case. So let's consider another case, friend, when we are not going to sign any data type. I am not going to sign any. So friend, if I'm going to sign any, let's null. Okay, as we know why we use null. Okay, whenever we are not assigning memory to any object, the null is assigned, going to assign automatically to it. If I'm going to assign null to it, then what will happen, friends? Actually, null is a uh, reserved literal. Okay, reserved literal. Again, you can see, friend, we are getting an error incompatible types, that null cannot be converted to short. Okay, so friend, now I think I discuss all each and every aspects with you. Okay, okay, let's suppose we are going to assign any value, any other, okay, that will be not belongs to a particular data type. Let's suppose I'm going to assign a learning storm to my short data. Then what will happen, friends? As have you an idea what is learning storm? Okay, same my compiler is going to think what will happen, what is learning storm. My compiler will search for it. Is it belongs to any is it belongs to any primitive data type? Is it int? Is it float? Is it short? Is it, my compiler will look for it. Okay, what it is actually. Okay, at last, when it is unable to find it, then my compiler will start thinking, okay, might be it is a variable, and it is a variable, but it is then my compiler start looking for that variable in that class. Okay, then my compiler think that okay, it is not defined here. So at that time, my compiler is going to throw an error. Okay, my compiler is going to throw an error that symbol not found. Let's see. Friend, see, cannot find the symbol. Okay, my compiler is unable to find that symbol, cannot found symbol. Okay, that my compiler is saying that the symbol is what? Learning storm. It is a variable, and in which location? Class short type. In short type class, I am unable to find the learning storm. Okay, if I'm going to declare this symbol. Let's see, if I'm going to declare this variable at that time, my program will work fine. Now you can see, friend. Okay, so these are the cases, friend, that I discussed with you. Okay, so that I discussed with you. So these are the cases, friends. Okay, so I hope now these all are clear with you. Okay, so let's summarize all these points. So what will happen if I'm going to assign a value that will beyond of its range? In that case, friend, my compiler is going to give an error incompatible type. My compiler is going to think that this value is belongs to integer, and I am unable to assign this int value to short data types. Okay. Another case, when I am going to assign a float value to it, then what will happen? As we know, any float decimal value, by default my compiler is going to treat it as double. So if I'm going to assign any double value to my short data type, my compiler is not going to truncate the decimal part. It is going to throw an error that I cannot convert double to int. Okay, double to short. Okay, friend. If I'm going to, friend, assign a string to my string to my short data type, then what will happen? This is the third case that we discuss. Again, friend, my compiler is going to throw an incompatible type, that it is going to say, sorry, I cannot convert to short string to short. Okay, friend, if I'm going to send character variable character to short, then what will happen, friend? So friend, here two cases may arise. Okay, either our program can run, or either it can throw an error at compile time. So friend, what is this case? What are these cases, friends? Whenever we are going to send a character which whose value will be in between whose Unicode value will in the range of the short data type. In that case, my compiler is going to work fine and going to print its integral value. But if the case is that when if the Unicode value of that particular character variable will be beyond to that uh, uh, will be beyond to its range. In that case, friend, my compiler is going to throw an error. Again, my compiler is going to throw an error that incompatible type from int to short. Okay, friend. So these are the cases, friend, that I discussed with you all. Okay. So friend, if I'm going to sign in boolean value, then again my friend, compiler is going to throw a boolean cannot be converted to short. Okay. If I'm going to assign any value that doesn't belong to any data type, in that case, for my friends, compiler is going to throw an error that symbol cannot found, because my compiler will be thinking that it is might be it can be a variable. Okay, so these are the cases that I discussed with you all. Okay, friends. So let's see the summary of the program. So how much data memory takes? 16 bits. Out of 15 bits are used to represent numbers, and the 1 bit are used to represent the sign of a number. Okay, either it can be positive or it can be negative. So what is the maximum value for it? 32,767. Okay, positive value. Okay, and minimum value is 32,768. Okay, friends. So what is the range? Now you can know what is the range of the, now you know the range of the short data type. So friend, as we know, some short data type are used to represent two kind of value: positive value and negative value. If I'm going to say my positive value, assign a positive value to short data type, in that case, positive values are going to represent normally in memory in the binary format. Okay, friends. But if I'm going to save assign negative number to short data, in that case, friend, my negative number is going to convert first in 2's complement format. Okay, 2's complement form, and then it is going to save in memory. Okay, so friend, this is all about the short data type. What is the size for it, what is the maximum value for it, what is the minimum value for it. Okay, how it save in memory, so, and what kind of value it accepts or what kind of value is not accept. So friends, in the next video we are going to discuss about in data type. Okay, till that, bye bye friends, keep on subscribing us, and let's let okay friend, bye.